Denise. I was on another link because I didn't get the right one. I'm at another computer, so sorry I'm late. I was over on another one at 3 o'clock and nobody was there, so I figured something was wrong. So
Oh
yeah,
no.
nice meeting you here.
You too.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is basically I'm going to ask you a few questions. You get to ask me as many questions as you want. I'll stick around as long as you have questions. So just fire away. So my first question is though, how did you find out about Brain Tap?
So my lovely doctor has it in her office and she let me try it one day and I
Okay,
just absolutely fell in love with it.
that's great. So
Yeah.
what was your motivation to use it for? Was it stress or was something else that you were looking to use the Brain Tap for?
I really was interested in it more to help at nighttime because I'm not really a good sleeper. And
Okay.
so even though I love meditation, I do a lot of that stuff on a daily basis. And I have my own holistic practice. I
Oh,
don't
great.
do enough of it for myself.
Right. So
And
it's good.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times the caregivers don't care for themselves. That's for sure. We actually have a policy of brain tap that everybody on staff has to do a brain tap every day at some point. We pay for them to go do it. So, I mean, if they don't do it, they have to explain what was so important that they didn't take care of themselves. Cause we know you get stressed out, burned out when you're taking care of people all day long. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about what your experience has been so far.
I love it so much. I love to do the brain tap piece where it does the tapping. And sometimes without the music, I find to be really deep to take me into a deeper state of being. One of the beautiful things is it happens right away. As soon as I start hearing those beats, immediately I'm letting my heart and my body follow that rhythm. So, and I love that. And one of the other things I love is the quick catnap one, so to speak. When I need a little, pick me up in the morning, I can take 10 minutes, log myself offline and do that. It really does help a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we call those digital coffee because they're meant to engage that brainwave called SMR, sensory motor rhythm. And that's the one as we get better looking and more intelligent with age starts to
Yeah.
diminish. Or also if we're toward the end of the day, that's the one when people lose their balance. You ever been tired and you lose your balance and things? A lot of people don't realize it, but we've done some studies with the balance tracker, which is a tool you can use to measure balance. And just by doing brain tap, we've helped people with their balance and bringing that into more of a positive state in that way. So, do you have you thought of some questions that I might be able to answer for you about brain tap that we can go over and we can delve a little bit deeper into?
Yeah, absolutely. So I tend to have headaches sort of in this band, right?
Mhm.
Which I know is a lot of times stress induced. And so what's so beautiful to me is when I use the rebalancing
Mhm.
and any of those type of sessions, I can actually feel little sparks of energy that happens in my head on that side. So my question for you is, can you tell me a little bit about that and what it's actually doing?
Okay. Yeah, you're more sensitive than others then. So you're actually kind of more intuitive maybe about that. What's
Mhm.
happening is light what we've shown in our studies is we can get 30% more blood flow to the brain in a session. So when you think about what's happening, if you've ever taken a rubber band and you put it around the end of your finger and it starts hurting, what's
Yeah.
happening in your head is you're not getting blood flow and circulation, so you're not getting oxygen. And then it shows up as pain in the body. And also, pain only happens in one brainwave. That one brainwave is beta, and that's the one we're awake. We're alert. That's why they put us out when we have surgeries and things like that. So what's happening with the light and sound is it's engaging the hemispheres of the brain, and in order for the brain to capture that energy, and I'll talk a little bit about maybe the sparks and what you're experiencing there. But what's happening is when we put the signal in the right ear, the left brain lights up. I mean, if we had you on an EEG, you'd see like this side of your brain light up, then this side of your brain light up, this side of your brain. And pretty soon the brain just goes, you know what? I'm just staying awake. So even
Mhm.
though you're asleep to other people, or they might think, oh, she's taking a nap or something like that. The reality is your brain is doing a lot of neurological activity and training because everywhere there's information. So just to put it in perspective for the listeners, our hearing, we're listening, we think we're only here, you're hearing me, maybe a couple sounds in the room. The reality is that you're listening to 25,000 pieces of information at any given moment in time. And your body is either can easily mitigate all that noise and you're focusing on just on what you want and you're concentrating, but that doesn't mean your brain isn't responding to it. So what's happening with the sounds that we have, the binaural beats, the isochronic tones, and the frequencies that we're exposing you to through the hearing, your brain is filtering those out. It knows the healthy ones. So we don't pay attention to everything. Like, for instance, if we were at a restaurant together having dinner and somebody 3 tables over said something about holistic health, then our ears would perk up, because even though we didn't hear any of their other conversation, those words, because we're both into holistic health, right? So
Right.
that would light up our brain. This is called the reticular activating system. So we're engaging that. So what happens when one side of the brain under stress shuts down? That's what usually happens. In your case, you're finding out that it's the left side of your brain that's shutting down, which isn't uncommon. There's a little exercise we do where we have people stand up and they write their name with one hand and they do a circle with the other. So you can do this after we're not on the air.
Yeah.
And chances are strong for you that while you're doing the circle, you won't remember how to write your name, because half of your brain shuts down under stress. That's just normal for everybody until you practice. So what we're doing is we're teaching the brain to be stressed in a positive way, but stay awake.
Right.
And how the blood flow works, the reason the blood flow works so well is that we are photic beings, meaning we're light beings. It's not a metaphysical concept, it's a scientific reality. And so we're all sharing biophotons all the time. This is light information. And back in, I think it was 2001, when they said they had mapped the genome, and then we found out they only mapped 1%. So, but what they found out was that 99% actually changes by what we're exposed to, by the environment we're in, by the foods we consume, by the thoughts we think. Even these all change, and they say that they're changed by these biophotons, and they work along the dura of the body, which is, like we tell people, it's kind of like fiber optics. This light moves through the body. So when you're getting into these different states, each brainwave state is kind of like a Wi-Fi network. So we only talk about the main 4, but there's a lot more. There's 16 different bands that are really important that people track. So but what happens is, as they all come online, they should all be active all the time. But what happens is that because we get under stress, as we get more stress, the brain says, hey, we're using a lot of energy here. Let's turn off this band. Let's turn off that band. Well, that changes the way that our brain produces neurotransmitters and endorphins. And these endorphins, we've all had experience where we might have hurt ourselves playing a game or doing something, and it didn't really hurt us at the time. But then later, after we relaxed, we went, oh man, I twisted my ankle and it puffed up or whatever, because so what's happening with you is you're going into these mental states, these high states of consciousness, where your brain and body are basically really producing these neurochemicals, and you're getting this neurochemical wash. And when you trigger, we all have receptor points. Like, the reason we have an opioid addiction out there in this world is our brain has opioid receptors. And if we're taking a pill from the outside, the brain says, you know what, you're making them, I don't have to anymore. And those receptor sites shut down. When you see the color white, we know you just triggered one of those receptor sites. You basically gave yourself your own aspirin, but you did it with your own neurochemistry. And we've all had it too, where we've been hit in the head and we see white. Well, that's our brain. We now know when you see the color white, you've actually triggered those opioid receptors. So you actually triggered the mental pharmacy. We can release 30,000 different neurochemicals with just a thought. So by getting into that right brain state and focusing, the brain's going to do the wash. And then the more you do it, pretty soon you'll probably find that you won't have to go through. I mean, hopefully the discomfort of those will go away. And also, that's also why we recommend, you hear on my sessions where I say drink half your body's weight in ounces of water, because we're hydro engines. Our brain uses so much water, so much energy of the system. So hope that helps you understand that a little bit better.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. I've been in practice for about 18 years, and I say the same thing. If you don't drink the water, so I have one of my clients is, she's got the same thing for quite some time, and I keep telling her that I really want her to invest in getting this, and then I said, are you at least doing the water? And she says, no, and I said, well, think of all the things you're ingesting when you're sick, right? as you know, people that need antibiotics and other things for illnesses. It's just, how's it going to flush out of the body? I
Yeah.
mean,
One of the
right?
ways I tell people that worked really well for me when I was in private practice was I said, you can drink that coffee, you can drink that soda if you want, but for every one you do, you have to have 3 glasses of water that matches that amount. So what I recommend you do is have the water first.
Yeah,
And if you can get them to do that, they won't drink the other because they'll be
it's
full
true.
already. And there's a really good book that we always had at our clinics. It was called "Water: Your body's Many Cries for Water." And we
Mm,
just leave it out in the front. We just left it on the front area. Just said, hey, this is a clinic copy because almost every ailment, of course, it's one of those books that everything has to do with water, but water is so important. Have you heard of Dr. Emoto and the
yes,
Secret Life of Water? I
I
was
have that. I
fortunate.
have a book by him. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. I was fortunate when he was alive. I met him a couple of times. We brought him out
Um,
to Hawaii to the quantum event. And we have a podcast that we did at BrainTap just a month ago with his office manager now because they did something with COVID. And they showed on the podcast, she showed on the screen what COVID looks like when they crystallized it. When you think about COVID and you put it in the water and it looks bad, but when you put fear in COVID, it looks even worse. But when you put gratitude or forgiveness with COVID, it neutralizes it. So
it's
our
amazing.
thinking is so important, and we're up to 90% water, unless we're
Right.
dehydrated. So we have this system. So our thoughts are creating or manifesting that reality, at least in a crystal form. So I think that's really important to share with people.
I love that you just said that too, because I've not heard any one individual say that yet in this whole year. No one has said that.
Right.
And I mean, I know people think, oh, Denise, you always, see the glass half full and always turn, something icky into something good. But it's not just words. It's how I live. And, being me and having my schedule that I create for myself.
Mhm.
I find that the brain tap to me is a really powerful tool in order for me to just check in with myself on a deeper level. Something certainly much more than I can do on my own for myself.
No, that's
Right? I
great.
can't do guided stuff for myself because I'm talking
Right. Yeah.
and I need to be
No.
quiet.
Yeah, exactly. I think more people need to. I tell people everyone's in their Olympic meet right now. They get up in the morning. It's like the Olympics for them. Your stress
Yeah,
is more important than anybody else's, or just as important. However you want to think about that. And people, could you imagine watching your favorite TV show or your favorite movie without those actors rehearsing what they're going to do? But
I know
people
it.
get up every day and do it. So brain tap gives you that chance. That's why a lot of times we have that future pacing piece in there where we take, like, when you take the discomfort away, you start visualizing how you're going to use that in the future. So your brain does it automatically. I
Yeah,
mean, it can do some incredible things for us if we work with it instead of against it.
it's so true. Like it can be the smallest thing. I can do something maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And honestly, there's not enough time in the day for me I want to listen to everything.
Yeah.
But it really does make a huge difference. And so anyone I know that I have try it when they're over my home or when I see my doctor friend, it's amazing. She told me her son comes over when he visits, doesn't even talk to her, immediately goes into the room where she keeps it. And he says, Mom, I'll see you in an hour. Just give me some time for myself. And then he just says, okay, I'm good. I'm good now. Back on track. Let's talk.
No, that's great. I mean, we find that even young children will love to do it. I know that
Yeah.
my grandkids do it, and there's, in fact, we had them do a couple recordings so they could do some kids affirmation ones, so that they could start learning what Grandpa does.
I
but,
love that.
but in the process of doing it too with the sleep, I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about that. So the reason that most people find benefit with the brain tap for sleep is when we're under this low level stress, our brain
Mm,
gets dysregulated. So it's normal to be tired at night. That's why we go to sleep. But the
yeah.
problem is that some people wake up tired.
Yeah.
They've slept all night and they haven't gotten the deep delta sleep that they needed to clean out their brain. So part of what's happening is we're opening up those, they call them glial lymphomic vessels. It's the lymph system for the brain. They just changed the name so that because the medical community just found that actually in 2016. which is kind of incredible. Everybody in
It
physiology
is.
knows where there's a blood vessel, there's a lymphatic vessel, but they made a big deal about it. But what they found was if you don't reach that level 4 sleep, you do not detox the brain. So
Yeah.
that what we do is we take you through a cycle of sleep, and through the day we build up energy, right? That energy builds up, and we have to get rid of it somehow. And instead of doing it in a negative way, like alcohol or drugs or something like that, we want to do it in a healthy way, like through relaxation and breathing and basically just observing, kind of a mindfulness kind of practice where you can just observe it, especially when you're using the sounds. And the nice thing is your brain knows what to do with all those sounds because
Right.
that's what it does. It's already been, these are all healing frequencies from our own planet. So we're doing things that we love to do anyway, but we're just giving you the physiological effect instead of, we can't take you to the ocean, but we can give you the feelings like you're at the ocean, or we're not taking you to the mountaintop, but we're giving you a feeling like you're on the mountaintop. So we're mimicking nature through the brain tap experience. And then what happens is our body just knows from here, I can go to sleep because it's not stuck in that awake state where the fear is or the frustration, especially during this last year when, we're all dealing with uncertainty. The brain doesn't like uncertainty. It likes to know what's going to happen tomorrow, which nobody knows because everything's still up in the air.
Yeah, there's a comfort level that it brings, because being an intuitive and I'm a medium, so a lot of times I have a son on the other side, so there's always conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
I always have to ask, this is not tonight, like, let me just be with myself. And one of the best tools for me is to use that deep sleep. I really need to completely turn off everything so I can just focus on my physical body and let that rest peacefully. Because using the Fitbit or things like that, I could see how awful my sleep
Yeah.
is, you know, and I realize, at this age and time, only getting 4 hours of real sleep a night is definitely not a healthy thing. And it's starting to catch up.
Yeah.
So I really truly can't thank you enough for creating this magical device, because we just we forget sometimes how much we really do need the support.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I mean, not everyone can go to walk at the beach every day, and they don't
Yeah.
live near the woods, let's say, or
Mm-hmm.
or especially now wanting to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
We need to create that oasis at home whenever we want it,
Yeah.
right?
That's great. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, like when you're going into those altered states where you have discretionary access to other information, that most people, it's there for them, but they don't know how to access it. I mean, that's kind of like what happened with Edison and Einstein and
Right.
Tesla, where they're visualizing future events as if they're real. I mean, you're going to those brainwave states. We've had some healers because we work with the All Indian Institute of Medical Science over in India, so we get to meet some really incredible people. They actually can listen to your pulse and tell you everything that's wrong with you. And it's pretty, they're so accurate. And there's a whole science behind that. But what we noticed was when we scanned them, they had high gamma going, which is a
Hmm.
brainwave that most people don't even know about. 10 years ago, people would have thought, that's an anxiety state. But now we know it's a high intuitive state. It's kind of like theta, the deep state of theta, but on steroids, because super creative people, spiritual people, like healers, when they're generating all the heat from their hands and they're putting their hands on people, when we've measured them, they've had really high gamma activity when they're doing that.
Yeah. And as you know too, being a healer myself, I hear this all the time. Why aren't you doing it for yourself? And I think to myself, I think I am, but we don't realize how there's so much going on in our brain all the time, right? More than sometimes I can imagine. When you were talking about them in India, I got goosebumps everywhere because it excites me so much of knowing there's so much out there. I'm this sponge type of a human where I want to learn everything and experience everything because I know that so much has not been tapped into yet. And to make that, an availability for people. So I'd love to know more too about what you guys have planned for the future of some new things coming with all these things.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, the things that I can share, because
Yeah,
there are
that you
some
can,
things
that
that
you
are
can
secret,
share.
but the main thing, we're working with a lot of people with our research. One of them is we have 2 research projects going on to show that BrainTap actually is a digital drug, not because we give you drugs, but
Yeah.
because your brain is the pharmacy. So we're doing a study in Brazil, and it's being mirrored at Ames University, the All Indian Institute of Medical Science there, the physiology departments. they're actually in Brazil. The government actually footed the bill to do this because we were getting such great results in our study for anxiety, depression, and things of that nature. So we're hoping that's the big thing, is because a lot of people know, like yourself, you're getting some benefit from it, but a lot of people want to see the science. So we're doing a lot with the
Sure.
science right now. And what we're finding is that whether you use the app alone or you use the headset, you get a result. The difference is that our headset gets you there faster, but the app itself is going to get you there because of our body is used to responding to sound. So one of the things that we're doing is we're doing more with neurofeedback equipment. Right
Mhm.
now, we're using the Muse and some other ones that we use just to show brainwave activity at the same time. We have some more expensive models like the Wavi, which is like $8,000, and the NeuroInfinity, which is 17,000, which we use in the lab, but most people don't buy those. So we're trying to find some ones like you're using the phone app, right? So we're trying to figure out if you can use pulse oximeter, you can use other things to and we're working with our partners in Russia that own the patents on HRV because we want people to be able to measure themselves. So the next big thing that we're doing is we're going to take our professional level product that we have, which is an HRV that they use in the clinics, that's like $6,000. And we're hoping to make it so that if people have like a smart watch, or they have, like I have this one measures your blood flow and stuff like that, HRV, it's a band that you wear like a BioStrap, stuff like that, or any other, these smart devices are all recording all this data anyway. So
Right.
now we're going to pull it in and show them pre and post after somebody does a session. This right here, oh shoot, just I don't know if you can see this. This is a little ring. Shoot, this is a little ring, and you put it on while you're meditating or doing a brain tap session, and it actually tells you not only what your heart rate's doing, but it can measure your what they call ECG. So you're getting brainwave activity, and what we want to show people is how much because a lot of people don't get it because it's inside. They just feel like they took a nap, but there's a
Right.
lot of physiological changes going on. And once they start, we're figuring if we can show them like we do at the clinics, then they'll stick with it. Right now, we're very fortunate. We only have an 8% churn on our app. The average user uses it 28 times every month. So people like it and they stay with it.
Yeah.
But there's still others, like yourself, when you're sharing it, you're getting good results. You share it with somebody and they're still not doing it. It's like frustrating. They want
Mhm.
to, but they want to see, we can show them all the science we have, which we have a really good site called braintapresearch.com, which is a site
Good.
that shows all of our research. People still look at all those studies. I mean, we just had the National Institute of Health just published a study that we did because we showed that with 100 people, 45 to 65, in one session, they brought their stress level down 38.5%. But still, people go, I don't know if it'll work for me. I'm going, it worked for 100 people. I mean, that's a
I
pretty good
know.
size study. And now that same study, we keep adding to it. And now there's over 200 people in that study, and it's still staying about the same. So I think we're going to see that across the board. We also are doing a lot with sports, even right now as we're filming this. The women's hockey is going on for the NCAA, and we actually did. They're all doing a brain tap study right now while they're in that Northeastern Huskies, and they won their last match. So now there's 2 games away from winning the national championship. So hopefully they'll do that. We work with the team down in Florida, who are the national champions in golf. They used brain
Mhm.
tap. We have a study going on with snowboarders, believe it or not, because one of the things we're doing is we're trying to show that with light and sound, we can be neuroprotective. Because in sports like snowboarding, they're falling down all the time and they're
Yeah.
damaging their brain. And so we're doing a whole study with the Olympic team to show. That's with Jake Pates, who's one of the Olympians. His company's doing it, but we supplied the equipment so they could do the study because he's been through it. And then,
Right.
uh, so what we have going on is just proving out the science, and then making, our biggest goal would be, because we have a goal to better 1 billion brains, is we've got to get it into all of these different areas. Uh, a lot of people don't realize all the ways they can use brain tap, so we're trying to get in. One of the reasons we're doing like brain hack podcast is to have people like yourself, Denise, sharing your story so people can understand, hey, I had problems with sleeping. I get pain in that area. Maybe this will work for me, and give it a try, because they can try it for free, right? I mean, and then if it doesn't work, no big deal. Don't do it. But if it does work, now you've got a solution. And one thing we know is everybody has stress.
Everyone.
So, I still do. Before this call, I actually did my brain tap session. I always do it around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just to, get myself tuned up. And I've done it. Somebody asked me once, is it addictive? And I said, I don't know. I've been doing it since 1986. So, it's like, it's a good thing. It's kind of like working out. Is working out addictive? If you see somebody who's a really trained athlete, it is. If they don't get to work out, they're angry, upset, they act like an addict. They gotta get out there and run or do whatever. So let's start some really positive memories. And I think the other thing that we're really focusing on is more with children.
Yeah.
Because with what's going on in the schools right now, we have a really good program going on right here in New Bern, North Carolina. We're putting together an educational program that people can use online, because we can't get to everybody.
Yeah.
But we're the first part of the study is going on now. It's going really well with the teachers, and then they're going to let us open it up to the high school to do some studies, just to show them, because they're under a great deal of stress. I mean, I would have not wanted to be in school during this time. I mean, I had such a free experience when I was in school. I mean, nobody even watched us. I mean, we could do whatever we wanted back then. There was no concerns. And now you got to wear a mask, got to be, everything's being controlled. It's a totally different experience for these people.
Very much so. I know, I've seen so many people who have talked about this, right? And they always make it a production where it doesn't have to be a production. I have mine in my nightstand drawer, and it's ready to go. I make sure it's charged. And if it's not, I just plug it in.
Yeah, right.
I make sure it happens. It's just an easy routine. And, whenever I do guided meditations myself, I had a really dear friend of mine, write the music. And so there's vibrational tones, obviously, to it as well. So everyone that hears it, and that's all it is, just listening to the music first, right? Before there's any sort of guided hypnotic meditations, the music alone, speaks volumes to where it takes you in the inside out, right? And so when I do the brain tap myself, there's so many pieces of that you can have it with music or without music. There's all these variances that is what we really need. And if you feel it in that, think of what else it's doing, right? And I love that you guys are doing all of this with science, because it definitely helps someone like me share more with people, to show them, as I can speak about it all I want, and they can try it all they want. I really just want to see people feel well, and stop taking pharmaceuticals, however we can make that happen.
Yeah. One of the other things that we're doing is we're looking for more voices for brain tap. So if you've done sessions that are guided imagery, you should send me a few. And then if you want us to, we have a whole program for authors, and we would love to have more female voices, and we can encode it. I could encode a couple of them, let you experience it, see if you want to participate and be part of Brain Tap Nation yourself. Because we're adding new content. And the nice thing is, if someone is a power user on our app, then they get access to all new materials as they come out. So we add anywhere between 5 to 10 new sessions every month. So somebody could.
I'm on it. Trust me. The first thing I do every day, pretty much, is see if there's something new. So I want to experience all of it. And coming from my perspective, I'll send you 2 of the guided meditations I have. They're about 15 minutes long. They're not long, but at least you can get a sense of how I go into that zone before I start doing the guided hypnosis. But I'd also too like to help you guys in any way that you need, is just a volunteer to test things, from my level of intuition and the connection to spiritual realm, for feedback, however you need to. I think what you have is just such an amazing gift, and I want to see it soar everywhere. Everybody needs this.
Well, that's great. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely, that's the mission, is to get as many people, partner with as many people, just start changing brains. And I have a lot of people in the field, because we do a lot with the neuro world with the doctors, and they're like, they think it's a toy because we don't charge enough. But then you talk to the end user and they're like, why is it so expensive? So it's like we priced our
Yeah.
product for the end user as much as we can. I mean, we've only went up $100 since '86. So I mean, we haven't really raised the price that much. We try to keep it around the same price. But people can just use the app at first and start getting the benefit, and then figure out, hey, the app works. I'm going to upgrade to the full headset.
I love the headset. I actually wanted to ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
I've never used it just through the app. I always use the headset because I just
Mhm.
love what the lights do to my
Yeah.
brain.
Mhm.
So for someone like me, let's say I'm doing a session with people who really are not feeling well. I would like to be able to use the tool somehow through a Zoom session because right now, that's what the
Mhm.
platform is. But
Mhm.
is there a way to utilize something like that through, that app where we could share it with people in a session? Maybe we're doing a meditation with them and we want to use a piece of that in
Yeah.
addition to that, something
Yeah.
like that.
And yeah, we have what you can do is we have it's a free affiliate program you can
Hmm.
join,
Okay.
and you just go to whoever you bought the product from. You should be under her, right? Because you bought the product from her, then
Yes.
you sign up. Um, you could go to bt.life and sign up to be an affiliate,
Okay.
which doesn't cost you anything,
I'm
and
going
then
to do that.
you'll get a free link. And then what you can do is you can give that link to them, and then when you play it for them, you could play it from your computer or you could play it
Mhm.
from your smart device during the recording or whatever. And then you can say, hey, go to the player, and then they can get 30 days free, and then if they like it, of course, then they purchase it for whatever level they want. And then we have an affiliate program for that.
I think that's phenomenal, and I'm definitely going to do that today. They'll love that. Everyone's always looking for that. So I, have my meditations available. So when you purchase it, it's your link. You can, have it wherever you ever
Mhm.
want to. But
Mhm.
everyone's chomping at the bit for more. And as you know, I know what it costs to have music written for me,
Yeah.
and what it costs for me to have studio time to record and
Mhm.
have things edited properly,
Mhm.
which is thousands, right? We just don't always have that
Yeah.
available that way. So we look for other tools. And to your point as well, I think that the headset is appropriately priced. Myself, I haven't changed my prices in 17 years
Yeah.
because I feel that there's a world of people out there that they just don't have, especially when they're not well, right? They don't live a normal life. And I like to do things for them on a volunteer basis because I feel that everyone should have access to these tools. Most of the people who really need them are not the ones rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
And so, what can we do, as healers, let's say, or light workers, whatever you
Mhm.
like to refer to them as? What can
Mhm.
we do um, to help people and to know they shouldn't be excited about watching something? I won't say the name of the show I recently watched, but I was watching this really powerful healer on there, and I thought, what a cool thing! I'd love to see him. I know he's here in California, but the price starts at $2,500.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay to rent a hotel room for him to see you at, and a higher end one in Beverly Hills. And so I don't, I am, not everybody has that. And I guess my point is, why can't he have a space that can be conducive of helping people a certain amount of days a week where he can use his gifts to help people heal?
Mhm.
So that's what I'm in this for, and I know you're doing the same. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to have this chat with you today.
Yeah, that's great. One of the apps we are creating is a professional app where you could actually encode on the fly. Where we're going to have it where you select what do you want to do, alpha, theta, delta, gamma. You can pick that track, then you can do your lives. You can do it live.
Great.
It'll
That's
record it
great.
for people because when I had my franchise company, we used to have therapists and we had every room set up digitally to
Yeah,
record their sessions, the personal one-on-ones, because what you say to them, we know there's an important bond there. And what you say to them, and then what we did is we encoded it and we just have a series of different encodings. So that's going to be available. Well, we're just working on that as well. It's just I'm surprised how long it takes for. I mean, you come up with an idea and then it takes quite a while to get it to manifest into reality. So
yeah,
it
that's for sure.
It's not about it. I don't know if it's about money, because you can spend a lot of money and still don't get the result. Because somebody told me you can have anything you want. You can have it fast if you have the money, or you can have it done for less, and I'm like, it's just the way it works. But yeah,
Yeah.
we look forward to, working with you and see what we can do and getting your sphere of influence, helping them. You're helping us right now. People will watch this and know, hey, they're going to resonate with you and say, hey, this is something that we can do. And especially those that watch it after if we put your sessions on BrainTap, they can go hear your sessions and start listening to those too.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm really excited about it. I love that, especially now I can't tell you the people who have reached out to me that are just not good. And these are light workers. These are people who have been, spiritual connection to the other side their entire lives, such as myself. And what's the first thing they're saying is, I don't want to do this anymore. I think I'm done. I want to go home now. And so, right. And I know what they mean. And it's not just words they're saying. It's been a pretty rough year for so many of us, if not all of us, in some way, shape, or form. So this is not just another hype tool that's 12 grand.
Right.
This is something that's, beautiful, obtainable tool to help everyone. And so I love this, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
That's great. Well, can you think of any other questions that I might be able to answer before we
Yes.
Okay.
This is more for my own selfish benefit. Okay, so for me, because by day I'm in IT, so I'm a business analyst, tech writer, mind, so it's that, right brain, left brain. And so, like I said, I use a certain thing in the morning, but I'd like to know, from all the things that are out there right now, if I asked you, what do you think would be one of the best pieces to listen to, let's say morning, noon, and night, what would you recommend?
Well, in the morning, either an AM session or an SMR, you'll see those in if you type those into the search bar.
Okay.
Those are morning sessions. Those are designed to get more alpha and more of the cognitive skills to wake your
Mhm.
brain up. In other words, get you into that thinking state. In the middle of the day, most of our sessions are theta trainings, because
Okay.
they're a little longer. They're like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes long, and they really take you through a deep dive, but they bring you back out with energy. So you can do those in the afternoon. Those are the ones we showed that if you do one of those in the middle of the day, you can regain up to 80% of the energy you had in the morning. So it's
Okay.
one of those reboots. And then at night, we have some that are just called PM, which are pretty self-explanatory. Then we have the sleep ones, if they say sleep on them, or the Delta training.
Okay.
Uh, the reason that we want to do those three different times, those three different kinds, is that when we do our brain scans with people, which we've been fortunate with our doctors sharing their information, what we've done, we have about 30,000 scans on file of what we've done over the last 10 years. And we found that more than 90% of our original scans had people with over 50% delta while they're awake.
Wow.
So we've all heard the expression, the masses are asleep. Well, we've kind of proved that out. Their brain
Oh,
at least wants to be asleep, it wants to be in that delta. That shows two things. One is their brain is either has a lot of inflammation, or they've had some trauma maybe,
yeah.
or they're not getting good sleep. So one of those three things. And what we find is that if you don't break that trend in the morning, they keep that high delta going. And so we find that the AM sessions in the morning are just as important as the PM sessions at night for getting the brain regulated. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, what happens as we age is our brain starts dysregulating. And if the left hemisphere, we just did a study that I think I should share with you here. We just finished up a pilot study that's now going into a bigger study with Seminole College. But we took women 55, 65. They were all diagnosed with dementia. Their doctor said, you have early stage dementia. We had them do the Cambridge Science testing, which is a series of computer skills tests. And they tested, yeah, you've got dementia. We did a brain map with them, which meant we measured the voltage of their brain across different parameters with our QEEG. And what happened was we found out that every one of them had a slower left hemisphere than right hemisphere, which meant the information was not flowing across the brain. So
Yeah.
when we think of a memory, what happens is that memory has to be reproduced. And if there's even a nanosecond of lag time, the brain will cut off the communication. So it's kind of like when you're watching YouTube or a video online and it's spinning, that spinning wheel goes, you go, that's too much time. I'm getting out of here. The brain does the same thing, but the brain is impatient. Your brain works like a fourth grader. So think about an eager fourth grader, and it wants this information now. And if it doesn't get it, it says, that's too much work. And then it just writes it off. It says, you don't know it. And then somebody says, I'm having a senior moment. But the memories are there. So what we did was we had to design, and we also can measure now neuroplasticity, which means we can measure the energy across the brain in through a algorithm. You can figure out how many neuron connections there are. There's nobody that really knows how to map neurons exactly. That's one of the jobs they're doing right now with Elon Musk and all the guys. So and hopefully it won't be as crazy as we're hearing about, but hopefully some good things will come out of that. But what happened was we had to build new sessions. And it's actually, we have this series called New Mind, because what we did was we slowed down the right hemisphere and sped up the left hemisphere through the BrainTap program. In six weeks is what it took. In 6 weeks, we sent them back to their doctor. Their doctor did all the diagnostic testing. He said, wow, if you'd have came to me 6 weeks ago like this, I would have diagnosed you with dementia. But the problem is once you're diagnosed, you're diagnosed. So you can't, because nobody can fix you unless it's a medical doctor. So so then they came back to us. We measured their brain. Their brain was balanced. We knew that because we already measured it at 3 weeks in, and we could see it going that way. We had them do the Cambridge Science testing. They no longer tested as dementia patients. They were within the range of everything. When we measured their brain for neural change, this neuroplastic change, which means neuron connections, they had a 49% average neurological change in six weeks.
That's
and
incredible.
Now the thing is, what is going to happen? They measured them after 6 months, and the same group maintained that change and even improved upon it. And they were doing 3 times a day during that 6 weeks. After that, we told them they at least needed to do 1 time a day. They all averaged at least 2 times a day because they wanted to keep that change. Now what we're doing with Seminole College is we have a project going with 50 people, which will give us, we can't really publish the other, it was only 5 people. But that told us how many people we needed in our study. And we have so many people doing that with brain health. So the key here is to just exercise at the right time. So they did that brain speed up and slow down training in the middle of the day. They did the wake up in the morning, and then they did the go to sleep at night. And we have a whole series called Brain Fitness. I don't know if you ever listened to any of those, but for those with cognitive decline, we have a whole program, 7 sessions in a series that work to build up that SMR brainwave. That's the one we need for cognitive skills.
I'm going to try that one. I'm going to add that one to my list next. I'm so excited. That's incredible. That's incredible. I have some friends now that they have their parents that are pretty ill with dementia, but they're still there, right?
Yeah.
They're still there. And so I'm going to reach out to one of them today, talk to her about our conversation.
Yeah. And once you sign up for the affiliate link, you could send them a free link.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the brain can heal at any age. There's actually like Perlmutter, who's one of the medical doctors that talks about the changing brain and how they had a stroke and how the brain healed. But the brain can heal from anything with the right stimulus. Once we get the thoughts, traumas, and toxins right, we got to get them. It's better to be optimistic. I was once told that I was too damn positive myself. And I said, well, I'd rather be disappointed every once in a while than disappointed every morning when I get up. Because the pessimists, think about it. Einstein said the worst kind of person is a person that sees the problem with every solution. And that's a pessimist. And I like people that see solutions with every problem. That's the person you want to hang out with. But a lot of people don't want to know the solution. So that's why just lead by example, do what you're doing, and then the right people will show up and do it. And share your story, whatever that is. And
well, it can be the same conversation. I have some clients, let's just say, it's the same story. And I say, you can't come every week. I can't keep, it's kind of like, helping someone clear their lungs, right? And you're doing all these amazing things, but yet every week they're still going into, the store to get cigarettes, right? If you're not doing the work yourself, it's kind of a moot point to keep coming in to, have this wonderful healing work, and then you leave and you're back in this world that you're not working on yourself. It's all about within you. And that's the biggest premise behind the things I do is I want to teach people how to help themselves heal. Is they need the tools to do it, know how to use it, certainly have the support, but if they don't learn to seek deeper within, they're going to stay in the negative zone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So before we wrap up, we have a few more minutes. Is there another question you have? Because you've done a great job asking
Yeah.
questions.
I love that. So I need to grab something I can write with right now because talking to you already has me in my zone.
Mhm.
I want to write this correctly. Okay. To the affiliate program, where am I going to get access to that?
If you just go to bt.life, that'll take you to our affiliate program. You just fill out your information, the same information you have on your app. When you
Okay.
log into the app, they'll, in fact, from your back office. I mean, have you ever logged in at braintap.com on the website?
Yes.
So when you do that, if you go to the bottom in the section, you'll see there's an affiliate link. You can click on that too, or go directly there by typing in bt.life. And then
Okay.
what'll happen is it'll just ask you a series of questions, and then it'll take usually 24 hours to approve, but they'll
Okay.
approve it because you're in the system. They want to just make sure. We've had some people sign up that aren't real people, and then
Oh,
there's a scam going on, so they have to approve everybody.
understood, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you said the lunch, I'm going to say the lunchtime fix. That's what I'm going to
Yep.
call it.
Mhm.
Our theta.
Yep.
Okay. And I love theta.
Yep.
I want to stay in theta all the time.
Right. And then you've already emailed me before, so just send me, let me know when you've done that, and I'll send you the royalty agreement. You can see if you want to participate on the other scale. Bringing more, bring your sessions into BrainTap Nation. See if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And I'd love to do anything, like I said, that you guys want. I just think this is just so incredibly powerful. And I'm so looking forward to seeing all the things that you're coming out with. I have to say there's certain doctors, right, that use bioscans.
Mhm.
And as you and I both know, they are amazing at the things that they show. And, for instance, whenever I go see, Dr. Nancy and she works with me, I have to ground myself. She can't talk to me. I have to get myself in the zone because as soon as she tries to run those frequencies, I crash the system because my energy's too strong. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, okay, let's just focus. And so I feel it's the same thing, but one of the beautiful parts of the brain tap to me is it's stronger than me. So I'm allowed to let myself completely go and take it in.
Mhm.
And that's worked amazing. So like I said, I'm looking forward to more because I'd like to share this with all the people I know that really need support. That's something that's obtainable for them that works. So I want to show all the things that you've created for scientific, proving things because everyone wants to see that. Well, show me
Right.
how this works. It's kind of like being a medium. I don't even have to show you. You're going to see the stuff by yourself, right? Um, that's how it works. I don't have to prove it. You're going to learn on your own. As that's what happens as we go through life. So
That's great.
I think that's everything from me. Unless there's anything more you want to ask me or share
No,
with me.
you've done great. You've done wonderful. I think we've got some good information, and people will love to hear about it. We appreciate your time, and let's see if there's some things we can work together. Maybe the next time I have you on a podcast, we share your sessions on BrainTap and tell the BrainTap world they can go listen to them. So,
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for that.
okay, well, sounds good. All right, thank you. I think they might have set this up and just let it run or something because uh, Pat, who usually does this, texted me, said he just landed in LA. So I don't
Yeah.
know. So it must be we're kind of they left us to run it on their behalf, unless somebody's listening in the background and they're gonna stop it. But
Yeah.
appreciate it, and uh, let's keep going. Yeah, Nick said he's here recording for Pat, so he's going to shut it off when we're done. So thanks,
Okay.
Nick, and we'll look forward to more communication with you, Denise.
Thank
And
you so
best of luck.
much.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Okay, take good care.